YouTube, what's going on? HeirofCarthage here, coming to you from the Mortis Waste. And folks, I have to say, the Mortis Waste is a beautiful place. I actually spent some time on vacation there recently. It's so arid and inhospitable that it's almost like I could feel myself turning into a Tomb King. Because, of course, I will never serve. But in any case, here we go. Let's get this battle started. I am going to serve you something here, though, today, actually. I guess I do serve. I'm going to serve you up a fun battle replay. How about that? In that case, I don't mind serving. This one's going to be Vampire Coast versus High Elves, and there's an artillery duel already underway, and I loves me some artillery. We got some carronades here being supported by a gunnery wight for the Vampire Coast. That's where we'll start out for their army. Their front line is just some deckhand mob, pretty typical Coast pick. There are some animated hulks to give some armor and a little bit of backbone to this line. They're not particularly powerful units, but they can hold out a little longer. They are backed up by pirate gunnery mob bombers. I actually kind of like this pick. The bombers can throw into the fight with these other cheap units where the enemy probably has more to lose than the Coast does. The third line is gunnery mob with handguns. So these guys are a little bit more capable of damage dealing. And then in the very back, we've got some deckhand mob with polearms. And then, folks, it's not over until the dead lady sings. You thought I was going to say something else, did you? I'm not that way. It's not over till the dead lady sings. So here she is. She is on top of her giant hermit crab, Cylostra, and she is ready to be able to summon some rotting Prometheans, and also to summon some damned knights errant, and all the other things that she summons. Speaking of summons, I like this call here. She summoned this up here to protect these bombers. So that was a good play, and it'll help block up the High Elf units here. You can see the bombers already unleashing. As for the High Elves, they are led by Alith Anar, and he has a light mage with a net of Amantok and Shim's burning cheese. You can see some of that being fired right there. It's actually not cheesy anymore. That's just, you know, old me talking. Several archers supporting him. There are 2 titanic chariots, which is an interesting pick against the Coast. There's several units of spearmen, and then some rangers. Rangers, probably not altogether crazy pick. If you can get them into melee against the Coast, they would be good against a lot of their units. And then there was 3 Eagle Claw bolt throwers and some spears in the back. You can see here that the Coast is already breaking the High Elves on the left. Despite them being weak, if you just have a few units that can hold for a moment, the Coast is pretty hard to quickly wrap up. And the High Elves decided to come into melee, in my opinion, a little bit hastily here. They had Alith Anar, and they still had their Eagle Claw bolt throwers. 2 of them were still alive, but rather than moving up and firing at the carronades, the bolt throwers were merely firing at the animated hulks, which I feel like was a waste of ammo. But here we are. The High Elves moved up. You can see they've used their Light Wizard to net these animated hulks to keep them from getting to the archers. And by the way, that summoned Paladin unit is going straight for those Eagle Claws, while the spearman that was protecting them just walks off. So definitely a costly mistake for the High Elves, but where the High Elves have made some mistakes, they are trying to right some of those. You can see the titanic chariots rolling through here, causing all kinds of distraction, but Cylostra is going to summon up some more hermit crabs to do her bidding and continue to throw some real trouble with the High Elves. You can see that that routed those rangers that were nearby. Meanwhile, the titanic chariots still a problem over here, and Cylostra is starting to take some pretty serious heat from Alith Anar and his archers. The archers won't pierce armor well, but given time, they will get some damage done. Over here, some Illyrian Reavers and Spearmen are still engaging the Vampire Coast units, and it'll take a while for the Coast to kill these units, despite them not being particularly high tier. Check out the Gunnery Wight's Crab here, doing his business. Now, he has been adding powder to the carronades, who have been firing non-stop since the battle began. So they're getting some fairly good use, though I do believe they're targeting Alith Anar right now, which is a target they probably won't score a lot of hits on. But you can see the artillery has been pretty well dealt with. The High Elves are spreading their archers out, which will certainly help if they do start to take fire from the carronades. And while Cylostra is certainly capable of taking out Alith Anar and a light mage in melee, you can see here the problem is she can't tie down all of the archer units at the same time, and despite her hermit crab having some delicious, tasty High Elf snacks, there's way too many here for her to handle all by herself. She is going to use some of her magic here. That's a pretty cool looking spell that we're seeing, the Fog of the Damned, which is going to take down the melee defense of those units. So nice way for Cylostra to prolong this battle. And speaking of prolong, the fight back here ends up going on for quite some time. Quite some time indeed, and the polearms are coming in clutch now, trying to help clean up everything that's left over here. for the High Elves. Some of the Rangers did come back from routing. Again, though, the Carronades, you can see, still have not been dealt with by the High Elves, so there is artillery that's going to be on the field late into this game. See over here, though, the animated hulks and the guns starting to waver against the spearmen, but the spearmen themselves wavering because of the bombers. So there's a lot going on at the moment, a lot going on. Units coming back from routing here and there, and Cylostra kind of just got herself, in my opinion, too far ahead of things here, and it just put her right into the jaws of all these archers, and she hasn't been able to deal with it. Watch her fighting her way through these spearmen. Alith Anar is nearby, so that's also buffing the effectively the damage of these archers if they're within his well, let's see if he actually brought the ability. He may not have. He has the ability to buff nearby archers, but he didn't bring it. Interesting. Or yeah. No, he didn't. Sorry, I was misreading things. Yeah, so he did not bring that ability. Just got a Shadow Crown, and of course that, yeah. So he did not bring the ability to buff the archers. That's kind of surprising. But nevertheless, they're getting the job done. Cylostra is being forced to flee, and what you're going to see now is the Gunnery Wight and his Carronades, and what's leftovers you have, like these polearms, versus what remains from the High Elves. The High Elves, though, do have a decent bit of ammunition left over here, and this is going to be pretty troublesome for the coast. The coast was just having its Carronades assailed, but if they weren't, I would highly suggest that they start firing on these archers as quickly as possible with the Carronades. Any ammunition that they can kill would be worth it. Chasing the archers right now with the deckhand mob is a fool's errand that will never connect. I mean, unless this is just an attempt to buy time for the Carronades to do their work. But definitely the zombies will never reach there. Plus, they're kind of needed back here. When the High Elf player, reactivates these units, the Carronades are going to once again find themselves under assault. So you can see here, and I don't mean salt as in S-L-T, or sorry, S-L-A, S-A-L-T. I can't spell salt, folks. Don't hold it against me, you know what I mean. I was going to make a pun, but I already failed, so here we go. Let's just keep going. Carthage salt, not assault like assault. I know, it wasn't even that funny to begin with. So here we are, Alith Anar doing his thing with his archers on a pretty lovely looking battlefield, to be honest. I can't wait for Warhammer 3 to come out because this game looks pretty good. Can't imagine what Warhammer is going to look like, and at this point I guess we can hope for 2021. CA, please. We're going to get a Warhammer 3 in 2021. Yeah, the polearms here are starting to crumble because of their lack of leadership. So they're in trouble. And that leaves the Gunnery Wight now dangerously alone. You can see here the spearmen managed to catch the Carronades. They needed that defense. They needed those polearms back here, and without it, they fell victim to all these attacks. And now the Gunnery Wight is going to get left mostly alone in order to try and face what the High Elves have left. Not a lot of ammo left on Alith Anar, but he does have the moon bow. I don't know, if he has shots with it left or anything else like that, but did have the moon bow at the beginning of the battle, which can do some pretty intense damage in the right situation. So again, you can see these spearmen now actually being hung up by the Gunnery Wight, but the archers are going to get a chance to release the rest of their ammunition, and every little bit of damage is going to count here. The Gunnery Wight can't heal, so will be effective. Now, Alith Anar, not fantastic in melee. The Gunnery Wight has quite a bit of armor. Alith Anar will not be particularly well suited to fighting a melee against this Gunnery Wight. These spearmen, though, if they can get any damage done, will certainly be worthwhile, though it looks like right here those bows are probably causing a more friendly fire than they were damage to the Gunnery Wight. Here comes Alith Anar. He'll get a free charge. The Gunnery Wight does have ammo, but I don't know how well he could stay ahead of a unit like Alith Anar. Alith Anar is actually pretty quick. See the crab here start working its magic. Getting its pincers dirty. So there we go. He's going to be crunching his way through this for a while. The High Elves definitely lacking some melee power here, but just sheer numbers giving them somewhat of an advantage. Plus, the leadership situation, not great. Not good for the Gunnery Wight. You can see he's using his ability, but it won't really matter. It's not going to have any impact on the melee. You can see him here having to double team and honestly doing quite well. Surrounded by spears and putting a lot of damage on Alith Anar and his mage. So the Gunnery Wight here making Cylostra proud. Where do you go when you're a ghost and you die? by the way. I was gonna say making her proud from, and then I'm like, but where does a dead ghost go? Is that even a thing? Do they go to the Mortis Waste? Inside that nice pyramid back there? So yeah, the crab is gonna start chasing now because he's got Alith Anar and the mage on the run, so there's honestly a chance here that the Gunnery Wight could pull this thing out, and he's gonna chase. You see he's gonna give chase to the Light Wizard at this point, instead of Alith Anar, thinking that Alith Anar probably won't come back. He's only got 72 hit points. And, I mean, I guess if you're going to make a bet at this point, that's one bet to make. Personally, I'd rather see the Lord dead, just for the penalty that it does to his troops. That's just me. If the Mage of Light came back and had a Shim's Burning Gaze, though, you could be in big trouble there. But if Alith Anar came back and had, say, like a Moonbow or something like that, then you'd also be screwed. So you can see Alith Anar did come back from routing with only 72 hit points and 0 leadership, literally 0. So not exactly sure how you have to be that unlucky. Look, he reroutes because his leadership is just that low. And there goes the Light Wizard. Or sorry, Light Mage. I'm thinking Empire on the brain, but look, Alith Anar back again. So narrowly avoiding a chain route, and that keeps this power bar here kind of dangerously in favor of the High Elves. You can see that pushing the Light Wizard off now puts it back in favor of the Gunnery Wight and his Crab, who no longer have any ammo, but they do have some deckhand mobs with pole arms. And at this point, I think the smartest thing to do is the Crab to make a wide berth here, get back to your pole arms, provide them the leadership they need to help you tank this fight out. You don't want to have any part of this fight if you're the Hermit Crab right now. You can especially see, because the leadership here being low, he's going to want to give these guys a wide berth, but instead decides to just go for it. And then there was a Moonbow. And the Moonbow hit is devastating. And so I'm pretty sure that the Vampire Coast may have just thrown this battle with that mistake. I think they definitely had this. I mean, the Moonbow could have hit regardless. But with the pole arms nearby to help tank, surely they could have finished this off. Especially if the Crab just avoided combat and let the pole arms take the combat. Because even, I mean, I don't know how many uses the Moonbow has. I forget. We can take a look. But I'll bet it's limited use. I could be wrong, though. It is limited use, so it's only 2 uses, so it wouldn't have come again. Yeah. I think the coast may have accidentally just thrown. Let's fast forward and see. It's possible that these pole arms could win. It's their leadership that worries me. From just a pure melee standpoint, I think they could probably pull it off. Maybe. I don't know. It's pretty close. None of the High Elf units here are particularly good at melee either. And these guys, though, I'm just worried their leadership's going to crumble. And imagine if that Crab was behind him here, their leadership would be holding together. And they have a considerable amount of hit points to work with. They're not picking up kills particularly quick, but they're getting a few. And see, like right here, a Crab attack while this is going on probably ends up routing all the High Elf stuff here, but at this point it looks like the, oh, I don't know. High Elves losing the unit here. It almost looks like the pole arms, are they trying to pull through to get to these units? I can't tell. Yeah, 2 units route out of the fight. Oh my gosh, this is close. This is crazy close. With the Crab over here, the deckhand mob definitely takes this home. And look at this, Alith Anar could be useful, but he's probably worried about routing if he gets too close to the pole arms. Look at this, all of the High Elf wavering. Another one shatters. Holy crap, this is close. This is going to be some serious RNG as to who went. Look at that, Alith Anar shattered in the middle of it. Even with Alith Anar shattering, the power bar just didn't shift. Oh, man. That was close. That was a close finish, folks. That was crazy close, in fact. Wow. What a finish there. Between Zero and Thessaly, a couple mistakes made by both players, for sure, but a fun battle nonetheless, and it was fought down to the wire. I think that those spearmen who walked away and let the bolt throwers get wrecked made a mistake. I think that in some ways, I don't know what the cannon... I think the cannon was spending part of its time firing at Alith Anar. I think they would have definitely been better spent firing at the archers. When you kill the archers with their ammunition, they take it with them. they take it with them. They can't use it when they're dead. But I mean, he did keep his cannons alive for a very long time. And Cylostra did get some decent damage done. I liked the summon from Cylostra that dealt with the Eagle Claw bolt throwers. I actually kind of expected that summon to go in and shred the archers, because the cannons could have continued to deal with the bolt throwers, honestly, too. So that summon, I guess, could have potentially just gone, and it would have probably killed most of the High Elf archers with that summoned damned paladin that they had there. There was a scurvy dog in this that I lost track of early on. The scurvy dog could have been potentially lethal to those archers as well. Didn't get a lot of kills here. It makes me wonder whether it engaged an Illyrian Reaver or something like that. I don't know. Unfortunate that I missed that, because the scurvy dog is a great unit for cleaning up different stuff like this. The Gunnery Wight did a fantastic job, and props to that polearm unit for nearly clutching that out. I love the inclusion of the bombers here, and then Alith Anar doing his range damage. Plenty of range here to deal with the coast. So that becomes pretty obvious. You've got 180 range archers, 3 of them. You got Tyrannok chariots with some solid range. You got 3 bolt throwers with some great range. You got Alith Anar with some great range, and you have a net to control anything that comes at you. So an interesting pick from the High Elves as well. I think they entered melee a little early, considering the fact that not all of their bolt throwers were down. I kind of would have liked to have seen them use their range on these carronades, but they deployed so far back that the carronades were in range of them, but they weren't in range of the carronades. I would think that you'd want to have these bolt throwers up at the very front when deploying, so that you could have the best possible chance of engaging longer range artillery immediately. But it didn't work out in this particular case. Anyway, great games to Thessaly and Zero. Very, very close one here. They got down to the wire. I was not sure who was going to win this one all the way through it. It was a pretty impressive fight, to say the least. Hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll be back soon with some more Total War Warhammer 2 content for you.